All right, welcome back everyone to the Creative Future Podcast. Before we get into the fun stuff, we'd like to acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara people, the First Nation owners of the land where we stand now. We pay respects to their elders, laws, customs, and creation spirits. We recognise that these lands have always been places of teaching, research, and learning. We acknowledge the important role Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders play within our community as well. So, if this is your first time listening with us, yay and welcome. I really recommend pausing this episode and taking the time to go back and listen to our first episode with Kevin Collett about his experience in the music industry. Even if you are not in the music industry, Kevin provided some interesting points about his transition from uni to a career in the creative field and how he branded himself as, an artist. But this episode is not about him. It is, of course, about our special guest today. We're moving our focus to game design, and I'm introducing our special guest, Patrick Elumba. Patrick, would you like to say hi?
Howdy, everyone. It's Patrick Elumba here.
Cool. So that's Patrick. He is a QT alumni who graduated from a Bachelor of Games and Interactive Entertainment in 2008, Patrick?
2011.
11, all right.
12, around there.
And he now uses this degree to, work as a software engineer at Boeing Defence Australia. He also took on the task of developing his own game, Steelbound Sky, and took that game from its inception to the App Store. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, Patrick, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners and just tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I guess the degree I got from QUT was actually a branch of IT at the time. I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but I guess when I was younger, I didn't even initially want to become a programmer. The concept didn't even appear until much later in my life. And that was, I guess, late in high school, where it was, oddly enough, the teacher was terrible. Like, he sucked. And this kind of drove me to figure out things on my own. And I found that there was a passion for programming, and that went hand in hand with my enjoyment of video games.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I was actually just going to ask about that. I was actually going to say that, I've known you for a long time, and, I have memories of, us playing video games. And I remember you developing your game back when. And I also remember you showing me some of the stuff that you do now at Boeing with that sort of tech software. I saw that briefcase on your bed, and I was like, hey, what's that?
Oh, yeah.
What was it?
That was a HoloLens.
Yeah.
So if people who are familiar with the augmented reality kind of side of things would know that Microsoft made their own HoloLens for AR. And at Boeing, we're actually quite a big company. We branch out into different fields in the STEMs, and so we kind of experiment a lot.
Yeah.
AR is one side of things, and there's many use cases. Training is the obvious low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Demos is really good, showing things like maps, and it's quite an early kind of technology, and Boeing's really keen on getting on top of it.
All right. Well, I remember you, I was interested at looking at, that briefcase.
Yeah.
It's top secret.
Secret.
Yeah, top secret. I remember that. But I was going to ask you, could you just explain the pathway that you took from, university to where you are now? Was it difficult navigating your way? And, I know you moved a bit. Could you just tell us about,
The whole journey, eh?
Yeah, the journey,
the whole
yeah.
thing. Okay. So with my degree, I specialized in software technologies. So it was definitely, like I said before, an IT degree with lots of flavoring of gaming surrounding it. I had a bit of maths as well. And when I graduated, I was kind of on a high, final project's done, this was the biggest hurdle of my life, getting this degree. And then nothing kind of from there because QUT they give you all the knowledge, but the preparation before that to kind of go into the world is kind of like
Not much.
Not much, and you're at a kind of a interesting point because you have all these friends. And you're all competing with each other for these jobs, and it's awkward.
Yeah.
But so I was actually looking for, I guess, from that standpoint, I was happy with my knowledge. I was confident in kind of creating things, but looking back, I didn't know much.
Yeah.
Like KT prepared me, and it was great. So I was looking for a job for like 6 months, pretty much, and I guess to keep busy, I tried to keep up with the technologies. I started to make a game actually with some ex-uni friends, and we'll get back to that later. Eh?
I think I remember something like that.
I think it was around that time. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna offer anything new. I think what the audience already knows is you gotta take what's given to you. So I applied for everything under the sun. I'm an introvert, so interviews suck. Yeah. But Canberra, the land of Australia, appeared out of nowhere, and KBR, if people don't know, they're actually like this mining oiling company.
Whoa!
So yeah,
what a step up from like interactive games, and you got a job,
Yeah, well,
interactive entertainment.
Yeah, so KBR, they actually purchased a simulation company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of out of left field.
Oh, yeah.
But the job that they offered was quite golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and KBR, if you guys didn't know, they also have an office in Brisbane, and so that's where I went for my first interview.
Oh.
And, I just nailed the question. I don't want to be like, I nailed it, but but this was after, many failures. So, step one, get really good at interviews.
Yeah.
You got to know your stuff. Know your shit. It's not a secret, guys. You just got to know it.
Cool.
So keep going, I guess.
Yeah.
So from there, Canberra is quite an isolated place. It's actually known for lots of people moving in and out because there's lots of jobs that get open, but people don't want to stay in Canberra because it's
kind of by itself. Hey?
Yeah, it's bad. It's cold.
Yeah,
it's like this deserted wasteland.
Yeah, you left us.
Yeah, I did. I left the family in Brisbane.
Yeah,
and when I got there, I was really solo, but I was able to use gaming tech. So in Canberra, the particular use case for me was I was helping out with a Navy ship simulator called the LHD, Landing Helicopter Dock.
All right.
Which is a ship design. I think the official name that I was working on was the HMAS Canberra.
Whoa.
And so the idea for this ship was Navy ships are massive, and they take years and years and years to build. And so to familiarize the Navy fleet, rather than waiting, we'd create this massive one-to-one simulation. Yeah, simulation of the entire ship. And it was actually really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
When I got on there, most of the ship was done, and it was a really good learning experience from there. Then,
how'd you move on from that job?
Fast forwarding on, when you think you're comfortable, I had no intentions of leaving jobs, but when you think everything's going good, things get tough. So KBR was going through financial problems, and so they had to lay off half the staff. So it happens. Yeah, it happens, right? So I came back and I decided, look, I haven't made a game yet. Let's make something.
Yeah.
So I opened a shed. There was a shed in my backyard.
Yeah.
And the idea was to isolate myself from my home life and try to treat it as like an actual job. So
yeah.
But the shed's really hot and it was really hard to work with. But I persevered. So there were 2 games I was actually working on.
Oh.
One I will keep secret for now. Yeah. And the other one, Justin's already introduced as Steelbound Sky.
That's the one.
And that links back to the uni project that I was working on later. That I worked on for several years, and then...
Several years?
Yeah, games take...
Yeah.
If there's game designers listening out there, games take ages. I wouldn't say... Maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
To 2, because it was already kind of worked on beforehand. But again, working on my own, and then from there I got my job at Boeing because they were looking for mobile developers.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's how.
So everything's all linked together quite nicely.
Yeah, because your game was
For mobile, yeah.
for a mobile game. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Wow, working for Boeing now. So we'll get on to the next question, and it was about your job. So with all those jobs, under your belt, what was the experience at QT studying games? What was your experience at QT studying games, and what were the specific skills that you learned that you found useful, furthering your career?
So, from a technical perspective, QT knew their stuff. So I remember they brought in quite a few game devs from the outside world.
Oh yeah.
And when they come in, people should listen to them because they really know their stuff. Technically, I knew everything.
Yeah.
The group projects are actually very, very important because at work, if I guess where I'm working at right now, half the time you're talking with other people, and half the time you're actually sitting down working programming.
So yeah, you would have thought that this is like a solo sort of thing, but everyone's working.
Yeah, in a company like Boeing, on the project that I'm working on in particular, everything's connected, everyone's working, so your communication skills have to be good. If you're not good at it, well, you'll get good. I promise that.
Yeah.
Like you'll have to step out of your system. And if you're more extrovert, good for you. But then there are still skills that you can obtain, like listen. I know this is kind of generic, kind of like get good at listening, get good at communication. Like everyone's been hearing this since like forever.
Yeah.
But it's really half the job.
Yeah.
I feel.
All right. Well, that leads on to our next question. It was about your career now. What does a day-to-day look like for Patrick Elumba?
Okay, so the project that I'm working on is called Project Karawang. So we are a project which is working on the network systems for the Army, battle-space communication systems.
Interesting.
Yeah, so initially I was employed to work on an Android project. I can't say much more than that.
Top secret stuff.
Kind of top secret. I do have a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
That I appreciate. We kind of have a culture, kind of like, I wouldn't say Google-like, but we are quite an alternative. Our process for engineering is quite alternative to the standard. Yeah,
sounds like a nice place to work.
Yeah, we have like a ping pong table. And,
yes.
It's an open floor plan. Every few weeks we have these desks that move, and then they all shift around so we can have different neighbors. It's really interesting. It's a good culture to be in.
There's probably studies about that. Probably about like productivity and like.
Yeah, I think if you're stuck with the same people all day, you
might
won't
not
learn much. So there's a bit of cross pollination there.
Yeah, of course.
From a technical perspective, I get to work with all sorts of programming languages, and a lot of my gaming skills have applied. Oddly enough, I think because I'm with the software side, it's a bit easier for me. To get into the IT side.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to hide from that. Like. Software tech goes hand in hand with software engineering. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Cool. So our next question is about that game. Would you like to tell us about the game that you made, the process of like creating it, and like what inspiration you got for the game?
Sure. So the game wasn't my idea, but I saw it to its conclusion. So Steelbound Sky is a hybrid of old school shoot 'em ups, or shmups, or bullet hell games, whatever you like to call them, and the modern day kind of mobile, casual Fruit Ninja. It really is Fruit Ninja plus, say, Raiden or something. You get Steelbound Sky. And the idea is, with shoot 'em ups, you have to be very precise with controls. So, in Japan, this genre of game is still very popular in the arcades, and you'll always see them with an arcade stick and the buttons, and the arcade stick's quite held in high regard because it's mechanical switches.
You can feel it.
You have precise input of exactly where to go.
Yeah,
you can dodge things. You can press things, and it's necessary. You can't always recreate that with a mobile. No one wants to bring a joystick around.
Yeah,
even controllers with phones kind of suck.
Yeah,
no one wants to do it. But Fruit Ninja's great.
Yeah,
but you can't get that depth. So we were trying to. I believe the idea was to combine the two.
Yeah,
and that's where I saw it to fruition. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It's like,
Yeah.
I think there was 6 levels or something. Each one has a
Yeah.
boss, and then you get to the end. And yeah, there was really good, interesting bosses. I felt like that I enjoyed.
What was the sort of idea behind, using mobile? Did you want to use mobile for any reason, or was that sort of just
No, it was simply the case of, everyone's doing this. Let's do it. And we wanted to learn the technology because at the time smartphones were just coming out. So
they were.
So we were at a point
that.
where like, hey, let's look, all this touchscreens are still kind of amazing. So we're like, let's use the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that game, Steelbound Sky, what was the challenge of developing it as a solo developer?
Sure. So there's certainly the mental challenge of doing it, because when you're doing your side of your own projects, assuming you're not being sponsored or something, there's no pay for what you do. So unlike, I guess, a casual job, every hour that you put in,
you get some sort of reward for money.
Right. Money's very tangible.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a side project, you have to do it for the passion and love of your art. And that's tough because you don't always enjoy it, but it's kind of like an actual relationship where...
You reckon that would be like the hardest part of just being a dev, Not just making the game, but like... Not like the coding aspect of it, but getting up every day and going...
Yeah, it's not the coding aspect of it, which is unfortunate because that's what school teaches you. Yeah. They teach you the technical side of how to do things, like A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
And you can do it, and if, it's easy to... I don't know, going on Google and looking up something, like...
Yeah,
how to do
tutorials.
You can do it, but you can't always teach persistence.
Yeah.
And then other challenges were... so there's that, and then there's the challenge of comparing yourself to others was quite hard.
Yeah.
People, me and myself as well, we'd make the mistake of every day you compare yourself to, look at this person.
Yeah. Even that expectation of you're developing a game. Oh, when is it going to be out,
Yeah, and
you have to live up to that expectation.
Yeah, and then you don't know if it'll even come close.
Yeah.
But I have learned that you should be comparing yourself to how you were yesterday, and if you keep doing that every day, you'll find it much more enjoyable, and I think you'll find it much more rewarding.
Yeah. So that was actually the next question. What did you learn from that experience? So you would say,
so compare yourself to yourself. That's a good one. Treat it like a relationship. That's another one. What other things did I learn? Marketing. So, I didn't do much marketing in university. It was very much just technical, but market day one. Day one, you should know your catch line, who you're going to sell to, who's your audience. I had none of that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, when I got towards the end of the project, I was like, well, I'm done. What's my game again? It was kind of like that.
No.
It was kind of like, And then the game was always like near that 100%, but then I had to create my business, create my team name, get this tax is the biggest pain. There's two things in life.
Yeah. You had
taxes,
to even make your own business.
It's really silly.
You can't just be like, look, it's here. Everyone.
I mean, you could, but if you want to sell it, I suppose, And the idea was, I knew at that point that I, probably wasn't going to become a millionaire.
Yeah,
it could have happened.
Yeah,
it happened to a couple of people, but at that point, it's like, look, I'm here already. Let's finish it. Let's get to the finish line, and that's tough. But market early and also test early was also my mistake. Yeah, so when I was making the game, I was making sure that I was having fun with the game. But I only tested towards the end, and then I realized, oh shit, this is hard. It's way too hard.
Actually, I remember that because you gave it all around to us.
Everyone just failed. I was
it
like,
was,
what?
it
You're
was pretty
failing?
hard.
What?
Yeah.
And I think I was justifying I didn't want to worry about testing because look, I'll do it at the end.
Yeah.
There's too many other things to worry about. No.
Yeah.
Getting audience feedback, even with an early prototype. Don't worry about polishing. Just get an early prototype done.
Yeah, and then just
A to B, and then be like, look, is this good? Is this good? Is this good?
Keep continuously testing each iteration. Interesting.
Because that's very important, because when I'm developing yourself, you're like, oh, what's fun to me
Yeah.
is maybe never fun to someone else.
All right. So I feel like this next question is important and quite valuable to all our listeners. So for all the students out there striving to complete their degrees in game design, what kind of advice or wisdom could you impart on them to try and find work after university or succeeding in the industry? So like give them advice like for now.
So if you're in university now...
Yeah, what sort of like advice would you give them?
Your resume's got to be up to date. So, look. In a university degree, everyone's in the same boat. At the end, everyone has the same projects. You know, what do you have to kind of push yourself forward after that?
Right.
So if you can make your own side projects,
Yeah.
even if it's like, look, when you go into an interview, they hardly know anything about your side project, but they'll be like, oh, look, this person worked on this outside of this. Well, what the heck? That means they're passionate. That means they want to do it.
Okay.
Because I guess you can do well you can get 7s or 6s in university, but in interviews, if you don't have the extra kind of push.
Yeah. So start having projects, like just get into it. Start making your own.
Get into it. Get messy.
Yeah.
And experience is valuable. I would say a good project that you finish from A to Z, is more important than getting a 7.
Yeah.
Or something on like.
And what about job opportunities? I know that with you.
So you gotta. There's no secret. If you gotta move, you gotta go.
Yeah. Take the opportunity when it comes.
Yeah, take the opportunity. If there's, it's a great experience. Honestly, get out of your comfort zone. Try to get a job that's related to your field. Even if it's like the tiniest remote related, go for it. And then look, if you don't like it, you can quit. Like, who cares? I think that's a good step.
All right. So now that we've finished that part of the interview, we're going to move on to the second part, and this is where we have some viewer questions. Are you ready for these questions, Patrick?
Yeah, speed round. Yeah,
sort of. Yeah. So our first question is from Cameron Liu, a QT student, and he's asking, I understand that the games market is fairly hard to get your name out there in, so how do you make games stand out?
Yeah, so there's a saying I heard from a designer a while ago, and it's like, there's no such thing as an original idea.
Yeah.
You just gotta, what's it saying? There's no such thing as an original idea. You just gotta plagiarize very well. Like you gotta make your own. But I guess I'm gonna sidestep the question a bit.
Yeah.
So if it's actually easy to stand out. You can put whatever crazy nonsense in the game you want. It doesn't matter how much you stand out. It matters how much you can sell your game to your audience. Like, you have to understand what your audience wants and how do you sell your game. Like it could just be a refined experience that like a 2D platformer, and it could be awesome. There's plenty of successes nowadays. Or it could be unique, and you have to try and sell it to your audience. Like for Steelbound Sky, it was a hybrid kind of concept. Look, it's a hybrid, and then you know what? I truly believed in that idea. I personally did like the concept. Like, I would play that if someone else made it. Give it a try.
Yeah,
and that was important to me. So don't worry about standing out. Worry about believing in your game and worrying about the audience. Yeah.
All right. That's sort of similar to our next viewer question, and this is from a Griffith Games Design alumni. His name is John Anthony Sandrusi, and he asks, as a solo developer, how did you go about marketing your game, building hype, and increasing audience engagement on social media?
I think I failed this. I failed this already. Yeah. So sorry. I can give you some hints.
Yeah.
In hindsight, look. Yeah. Start from day one. Know your marketing material. I would. There's lots of good forums out there. So let's say you have a certain genre. In my case, it was shoot 'em up. Towards the end of my game's development, I made like an account every single shoot 'em up forum I could, And then every type of retro forum I could, and I just tried to bam, look at this game, look
Oh,
at
interesting.
this. And then I would, there's the standard things like get a YouTube, Twitter account,
Yeah.
get an Instagram. Another good way to kind of get your game out there is to start a vlog of your game development. And that's a great way to keep you sane, firstly.
Yeah.
Because you kind of see your progress. And two, you can get your game's name out there. Social events. I think there's one at QUT actually where people can just showcase their
Like
game.
an exhibition.
Yep, that's good. There's competitions. That's another good one as well. There's like comps. You can go for that, and getting first place in an indie
Will definitely
game dev would help.
Yeah.
So there's lots of there's no secret. There's lots of what's the term? Oil and grease.
Yeah.
Kind of hard work to it. Get in early, and you can make something good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. That sounds like a wrap, guys. So thank you so much again, Patrick, for allowing us to showcase your career highlights.
It's my pleasure.
And experiences. I'm sure that everyone listening today can benefit from the knowledge that you've shared. Yeah. Any last words, Patrick?
I guess if you're in the creative field, remember that you're doing this as a passion, and you gotta keep reminding yourself of what it is. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, yep, that's a wrap, guys. Be sure to check out our other episode on our YouTube channel, and you'll also be able to find our videos on our social media accounts. Be sure to tune in next time.